Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Monday, the 27th of January. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. Corey, welcome back. Why don't you, before we get things going here, I do want to ask you in a little bit about your time away because there's some good stories with that. But before we do that, I think one of the better things about being home for you is that you can enjoy Pizza Ranch and the FunZone Arcade, who are the proud sponsors of the Morning Sports Desk.
Hallelujah, back in the warm, comfortable arms of the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. The ultimate duo, you know what it is, 12 pieces of the country's best chicken with a family order of mashed potatoes and gravy. It's just $29. Check it out while you are at the Pizza Ranch. That obviously you can get to go for a delivery or takeout. The buffet is ready for you, where the chicken and mashed potatoes are always ready to roll. I always do, CJ, a little salad bar trip first, but then I go right to the chicken and mashed potatoes. And then I find a slice of pizza to kind of wrap things up. It's a buffet. You have to go a little extra. And then, you know, the chicken fries. There's always like a scoop of pudding that's waiting for me in the buffet also. The delicious dessert pizza. The ice cream that's available. Pizza Ranch is going to fill your belly. This $29 chicken and mashed potato combo is waiting for you. And obviously stop into the FunZone Arcade with unbelievable prizes, especially for sports fans like we are at the Morning Sports Desk, with mystery autographs and mystery jerseys and mystery sports memorabilia, or not mystery sports memorabilia. It's just out there in the open for you to go and grab and win with the FunZone Arcade. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, and the Morning Sports Desk, a combination as classic as chicken and mashed potatoes.
All right, Corey, before we get things started, we have a couple local things that we will mention, talking about some milestones from some wrestlers, a girls basketball, and also a pretty big event that's coming into our listening area here in a couple of years. Before we do that, though, you were gone in the friendly confines of Florida, and wasn't it just a fun tropical vacation for all?
It was crazy. So we went to Destin, Florida for the week, which is in the Panhandle. As a quick aside, I don't know if you know this, but it's only like a 4-hour drive from Destin to New Orleans.
Okay.
It's really close,
which
is always a kind of surprising. But we were in Destin and got to spend the time, and we knew it's January, right? So even January in that part of Florida, like, it's not going to be a heat wave. Like if you made it down to Miami or something like that, or you were in Fort Myers, or you were in the Keys, then you can expect to get warm and sunburn and do whatever. We knew that wasn't going to be the case. And like anybody who is going to make a little trip out of Minnesota, you kind of monitor the weather anyway. And as we were monitoring the weather in Destin, we're like, it's going to be pretty cool. Like, the warmest day is going to be when we get there. And then the second warmest day is going to be when we leave. And we're talking about low 40s as highs pretty much all week. Okay, that's fine. It's going to be the coldest, winteriest week of the year in Minnesota. At times, it's going to be damn near 70 degrees warmer where we're going. It's going to be okay. And then the time comes to get to Florida, and you're like, oh, it might snow. That's crazy. It's going to snow here. And then, CJ, it did something it hasn't done in 130 years. 2 millennia have passed by since it snowed this much. In 1899, I think it was like 6.5 inches of snow. And in parts of the Panhandle and southern Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, into Texas even, there were upwards of 9 inches of snow. It hasn't snowed that much in that part of the world since the 1800s. 1899
Roosevelt was in the White House.
Cars weren't even invented yet. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. There's no other way to say it. Now, there's some funny things that come with it that we've learned. One is we got to be a part of history. That's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. The second thing is we knew this, but never got to experience it before until this past week. They are ill-equipped to handle any amounts of snow, let alone that much snow.
Uh-huh.
It was, I think where we were, there were probably 4 to 5 inches of snow. There's not a snowplow within 150, 200 miles of that place.
Uh-huh.
So there's nothing they can do. They can put sand down to help with some of the slipperiness because it turns out there's sand everywhere. You're right on the Gulf. But that's it. There's nothing they can put down to make the ice go away any faster, especially in shady spots. There's still snow on the ground today.
Mm-hmm.
Spots that don't ever see the sun, right? They closed down the week. It snowed on Tuesday, and everything was closed on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I was listening to the radio down there on Thursday. They were like, county buildings will open up on a limited basis tomorrow, but school's off for the rest of the week. They closed school down for the entire week. And I get it. This was historical levels of winter. At the same time, we were having highs of 6 in Minnesota and not even 2 hours late. The day where it was bitterly cold, that Monday where it was like 13 below, there was just 2 hours late those days.
It's like, we'll wait for the sun to come up. It'll get a little warmer then.
So it was equal parts fascinating and hilarious and then frustrating because if it would have just been my wife and I, we would have been fine, right? We would have been able to get through it. But we had our boys with us, and there's nothing to do. We went there to do stuff and keep our boys and entertain our boys, and we couldn't do any of it. Waffle House was open, but there's nothing for the boys at Waffle House.
Maybe color on a menu with some crayons.
Right, exactly. Like eventually Walmart opened up so we could go wander the aisles of Walmart and just wreck things there. Do donuts in the parking lot with the rental car.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We wanted to see alligators. The place that has alligators was closed. It was too cold. Like for the safety of the animals and the handlers. I'm like, it's too cold. This is the safest time to work with alligators.
Yeah.
They can't move. Their blood is like sludge right now. You should be open.
Their blood is like the diesel engine that tried to start up in the parking lot. Like it's not working.
So
it
was crazy. And I've been joking that people of a certain generation, of certain age, people especially my age, we still talk about the Halloween blizzard of 1991. Well, those people in Florida are going to be talking about the snow of January 2025 for what is very likely going to be the next century and a half.
The great snow of Ot 25.
Crazy stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff. And then, you just get cooped up. So it ended up being pretty disappointing. Fun to get away, fun to miss the winteriest week of weather in Minnesota, and fun to get the winteriest week of weather in Northwest Florida in 130 years. But we couldn't do anything.
Darn.
So that part kind of stinks. I will say this, though. I've never had a smoother flight experience in my entire life. Flying there and flying back, I've never had anything like it. We didn't wait. We flew out of MSP, CJ.
Uh-huh.
I didn't wait in a single line. The longest line was 5 minutes to check bags.
It's one of the best airports in the country for a reason.
But not. I'm talking, CJ, for TSA. We did the full, like spider web, up and over and down and up and over and down. And we walked right to the TSA agent and they scanned our passports and they said, you're free to go through. And we were free to go through. It took longer to walk the maze than it did to
try and cut a rope. And then they yell at you like, don't cut the rope. And it's like, come on, there's nobody here.
I've never been a part of a flight like that in my entire life. And it was like that on the way back also. It was awesome. So there were some wins out of the deal, other than the whole part of where your vacation's supposed to be fun and it wasn't.
getting on the flying bus, that was the fun part.
The flying bus is cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no other, that you're at the flying bus station. Works out.
That was my vacation, historical snow in Northwest Florida. It's 65 degrees there today.
You did miss some history here for our local sports scene. We do have a couple highlights that we want to shout out over the last week or so. Starting off in Park Rapids area wrestling, DeAndre Johnson, who's the senior, got his name into the record books last week. He got his 100th career victory against New York Mills. And he reached the century mark with a first period pin in the 2:15 match. And he has gotten to that milestone there of 100 wins. DeAndre Johnson out of Park Rapids area schools.
Way to go, DeAndre.
Congratulations to him. He's got his name up there. And then kind of a newer one too in this whole thing too with girls wrestling. We're starting to see some of those career milestones start to pick up here. At a wrestling match in Bertha last week, the girls wrestling got some milestones here. Elora of Bertha Hewitt Verndale Parker's Prairie Wrestling got her 50th career win in that one, along with taking first at the girls' invite. So congratulations to her.
Already?
Yeah.
Already 50 wins?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It's crazy. It's only been like, this is the third year? So
I suppose, yeah.
It's pretty good. And then on top of that, Montana Carsten of Wadena Deer Creek got her 1,000th point last week, according to Coach Cressup. And congratulations to her as well for getting to that milestone. A lot of threes end up piling up there to get her with the comma on her total points scored, and still got plenty of season left to try and get a little bit more than that as well. So cool. Congratulations to her, and congratulations to those two wrestlers hitting some big milestones here.
Yeah. Way to go, Montana.
Yeah. Good job, everyone. Good job, everyone involved. I got one pin in my entire elementary wrestling career, and I have maybe about 20 points in my entire varsity career. So the fact that anybody gets these milestones just is impressive, because it sounds easy, and to some people it is, but to most people it's not. So congratulations to everybody on hitting those.
Way to go.
Way to go. One last bit of news, and we'll kind of wrap up a quick morning sports desk here on a Monday, is the fact that Brainerd is getting Hockey Day 2027.
I saw that. That's amazing news.
We talked about, so we had Logan Veo of our Brainerd stations. He was joining us with Zeke on Friday's episode. And we talked a little bit Hockey Day, because Brainerd got to go down there, and they talked about being down at Valley Fair. And honestly, I'm surprised they haven't done it at Valley Fair more often. Like, that is just a perfect setup for Hockey Day. Logistically, they have the facilities and the parking and all that to make it work. It looked really cool. So that was really fun to see. So they talked about going down there and talking about previewing the game on a carousel and doing
the Brainerd girls, correct? Played in the Brainerd Little Falls girls.
They were down there. So they went down there for that. And so we teased a little bit, like, wouldn't it be cool, like, for Brainerd to get its own thing? And Corey, that's what I remembered like 3 weeks ago on my other podcast, the Beaver Banter podcast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts. We also streaming on YouTube, and we talked with Jared Rpaids, who's a Brainerd native, and he used to write for the Detroit Lakes paper as well as the Alexandria paper, and now he works up at the Bemidji Pioneer. He's the sports editor there, and he was talking, and he mentioned, he's like, Hockey Day Minnesota might come somewhere where there's a speedway, and that's all he said.
Interesting.
And I knew that he was talking about Brainerd, and then once we got off the record, he was like, yeah, it's coming to Brainerd. It's coming. He's like, I have it on good authority that it's coming to Brainerd. And that's really cool. They're going to do it at BIR, which makes sense.
Another perfect facility for it, right?
371 will not be able to handle that traffic, but they never do for BIR anyways. It's okay.
Yeah. When have they been ever able to handle any traffic?
like any BIR weekend, when it's like the first weekend of August in a summer, my family always goes, do you want to go to Brainerd? Maybe we'll go to, go do a couple stores, go to Target, go to Fleet Farm, and then they'll like look at each other and they'll go, nah, it's BIR weekend. We'll go to Alec.
Yeah. So they're going to go that's in 2027, right? Yes, when it's coming.
So they're where they said next year.
They're going to do Hockey Day Minnesota, and then the big fishing tournament on like back-to-back weekends, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be awesome.
Good job, Brainerd. It'll be fun, though. I don't know if they'll get Bemidji State or if it's UMD or St. Cloud State. Kind of those three are the close ones. I'm not sure which colleges they'll pick to kind of play the game, but it'll be fun nonetheless, or where they're going to play the game. If they do them outside, if they whatever, there'll be a lot of stuff to break down there with that. So it'll be really fun. It's just cool that Brainerd gets to have it for the first time ever. If not, it's got to be like the second time. There's probably not a ton of Brainerd.
Have any places had it more than once yet?
I'm not sure. Warroad, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, that would make sense.
Not a lot of places, though. Yeah. Unless maybe the cities, like Minneapolis has had it a couple times, I'm sure. But anyway, it's a cool moment. So it's awesome to see. That'll do it for us today, Corey. We'll talk more about that news once kind of more of it comes available. But this has been the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and the FunZone Arcade in Wadena on a Monday, the 27th of January. We'll see you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.